All right, Rob, let's get to it. Rob G, come in and summarize this situation going on with Urban Meyer and Michigan State, if it is anything at all.
It's something of a Fox Sports talent brouhaha brewing over Urban Meyer, because on one hand, Fox Sports Radio weekend host straight out of Vegas, Bernie Fratto, reported earlier this week that his moles are telling him that Urban Meyer is meeting with the brass at Michigan State this week to discuss his interest.
I just want you to know, that's my saying, right? I had a segment on Channel 4 in Detroit for 20 years.
What was it saying?
My moles are telling me. It's called Clubhouse Confidential. And it was like always, instead of saying sources, Chris and Rob G.
Moles, right.
I would say, my moles are telling me this, or my CWPS. Chris, what is that?
Close, warm, and personal friends.
Exactly. So those were, instead of using the term sources. So it's funny that Bernie's saying his moles are.
Right.
But anyway, go ahead.
Also, my moles are telling me segment coming to the Odd Couple soon, because Rob always likes to bring stuff back anytime he can. But anyways, Bernie says he's going to meet with them. Now, he did couch it by saying this does not mean an offer is imminent, does not mean that he's going to get the job, just that the two sides are going to meet. On the other hand, maybe about a few hours later and then again into this afternoon, Fox television personalities, Brady Quinn, in which case does radio and television, and Bruce Feldman, who both work with Urban Meyer on Big Noon Kickoff, said that they have both spoken to Urban Meyer directly and he has zero interest, and these reports linking him to Michigan State are unfounded.
Rob, your thoughts?
I say good, because if I'm Michigan State, I want nothing to do with Urban Meyer. Urban Meyer is unhireable at this point. What went down, and not just the terrible thing that went on in Jacksonville, Chris, and we saw it. As soon as he was out of there, Lawrence became a better player. That team was better. And the stuff that he did down there, let me just start. I'm going backwards.
Right.
The stuff he did there, I didn't believe he wanted to coach. It didn't feel like it. It felt like he just wanted Jacksonville's loot or whatever and to get fired. When he didn't go back with his team after that loss in Cincinnati, I thought that was like something. If a player had done that, they would have been ridiculed, right? Not flying back with their team. Then he was caught with the young lady on his lap, with the lap happy dance, all that, embarrassing to the organization. Then before that, he given Tim Tebow, who is his neighbor, I believe, in Florida or wherever they live, Chris, a job in a position he'd never played, an old player.
Well, he ended up cutting him, but he gave him a shot.
He gave him a shot in a spot. And then, probably the whipped cream on the crap was basically hiring this coach who was a racist strength and conditioning coach, and hiring him in Jacksonville. And then telling people that they worked together in Utah, when in reality, Chris, when they did the reporters did their vetting and information, they never worked together. They were at Utah. They both were at Utah, but not at the same time. So anyway, you have all that. And don't forget what happened at Ohio State with one of his assistants, who was accused of beating up his wife and all kinds of domestic violence and all that. That was kind of swept under the rug. He claimed he didn't know, but his wife knew. There was all kinds of issues. There's just so much stuff that's happened with Urban Meyer. I don't even think of him as that, coach that won national championships and all that. The last few stops and roads have been bumpy, to say the least. And if I'm Michigan State, Chris, with all that they've had, controversies, the doctor who was molesting the gymnast, obviously their coach was involved in phone sex with a woman who was a rapes and a sexual assault and rape survivor.
The irony.
Yeah, like
the
of
irony
all,
is crazy.
Chris, all that going on at Michigan State, he's just not the right coach for Michigan State. They need to get their nose clean. And Urban Meyer, when it comes to Michigan State, and I think any college program, to me, is unhireable.
I disagree. I don't think he's unhireable. I mean, first of all, he's working at Fox Sports 1, or Fox Sports. So he's got a job, and he's got a high-profile job associated with sports, associated with college sports, where he's could be dealing with college athletes and things like that. So he's clearly not unhireable. Nobody's picketing at Fox against Fox Sports and all that stuff. Now, if I ran a Christian university and we were bound by certain principles that we wanted to follow and we wanted our young men to, develop Christ-like character and see that in our coaches and our professors and all that, absolutely not. He would not be hired. He would not even be considered. Michigan State? Yeah. He could be hired. I'm not saying I would hire him, but if I was running the job search, the coaching search at Michigan State, I might talk to him. I'd be willing to talk to him. At the end of the day, you're trying to win football games there at Michigan State. The veil has been torn. We know what college sports is all about. It's about winning. All right? It's about winning. And now the players are getting paid, even though it's still not getting their fair share. They are getting paid with the NIL. So now it's just even less, like they can transfer. All that, stuff about, that we want it to be innocent and all that is gone. The innocence is lost. Now, that doesn't mean I want him to come in and just do whatever he wants to do to win. But if I would bring him in, talk to him about all the past things, like the Jacksonville stuff, to me, that's not like, I would talk to him about staying behind, in Ohio, in Columbus when he didn't go with his team. But a lot of that's NFL level stuff. That doesn't really, I'm getting him to be a college coach. And I would talk to him about all of these incidents. See if there's remorse, or at least he says there's remorse. Ask him pointed questions and make demands or say, look, you can even put some of that stuff in the contract if you want. A morals clause and be specific about stuff. So I don't think he's unhireable. I think he could get a second chance, or this would be, I don't know, fifth, sixth chance, whatever. But he's a good college football coach. He can win games, and I just would want to make sure that I would feel comfortable, that he's learned from these passages. And look, I don't know, he might be 60 years old. I don't know about learning. But if he's not going to be doing whatever, scandalous type things were in his past, and obviously he didn't do, like you mentioned, the coach at Ohio State, he didn't do that. Florida, he caught flack because some of his players got in trouble and things like that. But Rick Pitino's working at Louisville now. We know what he's been involved in.
He's not at Louisville, right?
I mean, St. John's. I'm sorry, St. John's. Yeah, used to be at Louisville. Then I own it in St. John's. So that's my thing. I don't think he's unhireable. I'm not saying I would definitely hire him, but I'd be willing to talk to him and
Chris,
have a pointed
you're beating around
interview.
The bush. You're beating around
the bush.
No, I'm
not beating around the bush.
Yes, you are, and I'm going to ask you a pointed question. If Chris Broussard was the athletic director at Michigan State, given his history, I don't want about you being at a Christian university.
No,
I don't want to hear that.
I can say.
I'm asking
all, you don't hear what
I'm asking you, would you hire Urban Meyer given his track record?
I thought he
yes
was,
or no?
Listen.
Or no?
First of all, listen.
Yes or no? That's all I want from you. Yes or no?
You don't get to. Will you be quiet?
That's my question. No.
Will you be quiet?
That's my question. Yes or no?
Let me answer. If I felt he was the most qualified for the job out of the people I interviewed, yes. That good enough for you?
Yeah,
that clear enough
I don't
for
believe
you?
it. I don't believe it, but
Why
that's
not?
fine if that's your
Why
answer.
not?
Because I don't
Why
believe
would I say it if I don't
because
believe it?
a lot of stuff, it's easy to say now, but a lot of stuff goes into these decisions.
Wait, hold on. Now you calling me a liar?
I didn't say you lied.
You
I'm just saying.
said I'm lying.
I'm telling you that I
Why
think that.
in the world would I say
think if
yes
you were the
if I don't mean it?
If you were the AD at
I
Michigan
just told
State.
you I would go through the process, and if I
Michigan
felt comfortable with his answers, I could hire him.
It's hard for me to believe.
What don't you understand?
It's hard for me to believe that any AD would stand up there and have Urban
why
Meyer
can he
show
work
up.
at Fox? Why can he work at
Because
Fox
that has
Sports?
nothing to do with kids, Chris.
Really?
They hired everybody.
He's at a game with kids every Saturday.
No, it's not. It's not like going into somebody's
what goes
living
on in
room.
college, dude?
Nah, I'm not buying
act
that.
like this is.
If that's the case, Mel Tucker would still be the coach. Don't be naive, Chris. If it's just about winning, why is Mel Tucker out? Why is Mel Tucker? Answer that. It's just about winning game. It's just about winning game. It isn't about money. Mel Tucker is out for cause. Don't be naive.
Hold on. No,
Chris Broussard acting like all naive, like you don't understand. It's only about winning.
You the one acting naive.
That nobody would ever get fired in college. Come on, Chris. I expect more from you.
You got to let me say something, man. You want to get all emotional. Oh, I'm a yell, not let my co-host talk. Now I got to get up and leave because I can't listen. That's why you're emotional. I'm logical. Mel Tucker could maybe get a job in the future. You yelling about Mel Tucker, you ain't yelling about Rick Pitino. It's all right for him to work. Man, I'm naive. You know what goes on in college, kids? But I'm naive. Stop it, Rob Parker. And ain't nobody lying. Is Urban Meyer unhireable? Your thoughts?
John in California, you're on the Odd Couple Fox Sports Radio. John.
You just put some clauses in that contract that stipulate that he will run a tight ship and make sure that he toes the line. But really, in the end analysis, this is about wins and losses. And the guy's won everywhere he's gone. And
all right, Dane,
yeah, I agree
South
with
Carolina.
you, my man. Good, I agree with you.
Dane.
Hello?
Yeah, hey. All right.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks for taking the call, man. First time calling any show like this. I just had one question. All right, a couple of questions. What is one of the main responsibilities of a college football coach? If your kid's getting recruited, you want to be able to know that man is going to take care and teach your kid how to be a man, right?
Absolutely.
How to be an adult. All right. So, Chris, are you telling me if you had a son who's 4 or 5 star prospect, you're going to let Urban Meyer come in your house and you're going to let your kid go play for Urban Meyer?
I would I would let him into my house and I would listen to him and see what he has to say. And I can ask him pointed questions. I mean, what Urban Meyer, because he had a dude on his staff that was committed domestic violence. So if you have a player on your team, he had players in Florida that were doing negative things.
Yeah, those are the demerits against him. Those are the demerits against him because he's in charge of the program.
It's a lot of coaches.
His wife knew about the Ohio State thing, but he didn't know. He pleaded the fifth. And
he didn't do it. He didn't
know. No, it's not about.
He didn't do it.
He oversees the program.
It's a difference in. No, but hold on. You can't ask me questions and then start yelling when I start to answer. You asked the difference between Mel Tucker. Mel Tucker did it. Urban Meyer didn't do that. He wasn't the one doing it. It was one of his assistant coaches. There's a difference between you doing something and somebody else doing something.
Chris.
Even if it's your friend, it's still, you go to strip clubs. Does that make me guilty of doing that?
No, but that ain't the same as.
I'm just saying, negative things. I think it's negative.
It ain't.
And it ain't a reflection on me. But it's still a negative to me and many other people. And it's not a reflection on me.
But when it's your program, you have to oversee what's going on in your program. That's the difference.
I agree.
Okay, so he can't say, I didn't know. That's not good enough. It's your program. You're supposed to know what's going on. And how the hell does your wife know and you don't know?
I think he knew. But I'm saying you talk about naive. Dude, you think every one of these college coaches is some pristine character? Please. I mean, it's the real world, man.